This episode of Get Creative is brought to you by my new service, EnzoGoGo.com. Find the right person for the right job. All right, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to the Get Creative podcast, the podcast for creatives by creatives. I'm Evan Schmitt, and my guest today is John Schmitt. He's an entrepreneur and a father of two, and he's also my cousin. All right, John, thanks for coming on the show today. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Evan. Yeah, this is John, and I was born in Detroit a long time ago and moved to Texas with the family and then came out to California for college to seek opportunity here. I started as a mechanical engineer, chasing Moore's Law in Silicon Valley. Then I switched to software because I was doing software on the side and I had a lot of fun doing that. And then throughout working in corporate America here at tech companies, I went from manager and director and then started my own company a few years ago with a buddy. And it was good that we trusted each other and we could learn through that process. And I learned a lot more than just engineering in that process of starting the company. And then I took it all the way from zero to growth to selling the company. And now I get to spend time freely. So I spend a lot of time teaching debate and 3D design and modeling to middle schoolers mostly. And so I get to read good books and volunteer a lot while my wife is working at Apple and I'm thinking about what to do for my next business.
Nice. So I'm sure you got a big archive to pull from. So when you think about a really important lesson that you've learned, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, we all grow and learn differently. And so the first half of my life was very technical. And I didn't have any appreciation or interest in marketing and sales, for instance. Now, some other people that might be listening may have no interest in engineering and come from a marketing and sales background. But for me, that was a huge gap. So when I started a business, I went to meetups and talked to other founders at companies in the Bay Area. And I could see that almost everyone was technical, and I could see companies that were failing. And most of the companies that failed because they didn't appreciate marketing and sales. They thought they could just build it and people would come. So I learned very quickly that I was going to fail if I didn't kind of dive in and learn how to do marketing. And kind of the first important lesson I learned is it's a numbers game. When I was a kid and selling things door to door, I hated the personal rejection. If someone I knocked on their door, they said not interested or no, I took that personally and it hurt. And then I realized emotionally, I really changed the first year of running a business to say that it's always a no until I ask. I mean, if I don't knock on those doors, if I don't make those calls, that's already no business. So it can only get better by just trying. So it got me a lot more courage to play kind of the numbers game and just put myself out there more often and ask and ask and ask politely, respectfully, until I get the right kind of sales and business leads.
Oh, that's great. That's good advice. So you mentioned you were mentoring middle schoolers right now. What else are you up to?
Well, I've got a rental property I'm kind of an active landlord on. I volunteer at through a services for seniors program. So there's lots of older folks who are living independently that can't do simple handyman things on their houses. So I've joined a group of volunteers that kind of find them and visit them and unclog a sink or wash windows or trim hedges or whatever's needed there. And I also kind of stayed involved with some of the other startups around here. And since I don't need the money and it's not an interesting amount of money to be an advisor, I just do free advising with some startups, mostly on the marketing and sales side, as well as investor relations and kind of acquisition strategies.
All right. Well, John, thanks for coming on the show today and getting creative with me, sharing a little bit about your past. And yeah.
All right. Always glad to talk to you, Evan. Take care.
That's it for another episode of Get Creative. You can find more information about my guest in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe so that you get the next episode in your sleep. And please give the show a review. For more information about me, go to evanschmitt.com. Follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and watch my vlog on YouTube where I share lessons that I've learned. Thank you for listening. Now go get creative.